I'm going to try to discuss a few things with you here about how the state law looks at the part far as folks visiting graves or old cemeteries that may or may not be on, posted or private property. You might know of an old cemetery, that where some of your ancestors may be, and say, this old cemetery or that grave or that 2 or 3 graves, it may be out, on a private hunting club or something like that. I'm just going to tell you about 5 or 6 different things right here, and I'm going to post some information right here at the end of the video regarding the laws. And what you can do, when the video gets on it, you can pause it and read the whole entire thing if you would like. It's called the Hines Law. It was argued in Tennessee Supreme Court out of Nashville, December 1911. But probably what you need to do is, if you're in this case here, I'm in the state of Tennessee. If you're not in Tennessee, you need to contact your state capital and find out if your state has what's called a historical commission. And I found out just a few months ago that Tennessee has what's called the Tennessee Historical Commission. And they've got some folks that work for them that can answer these questions, and you can contact them, and they can put you in contact with a person that can answer this different stuff, involving graves and cemeteries and all that. But this Hines Law that I'm going to post during the video here, basically what it says is you are allowed to access a grave or a cemetery on private property during a reasonable time under a reasonable manner at any given time without permission, as long as you are even like a distant family member, or distant of kin, ever how you want to put it. It says that you may access from the nearest road. That's also mentioned. But something else here, and this is a piece of information here that I have learned over the past couple of years, and this is some stuff that a lot of folks out there is very, very unaware of. I started, of course, I've always, looked at history, looked at old cemeteries, graves, different stuff like that, but I stepped up a level or a couple of levels as far as learning more regulations and laws and guidelines when it comes to this historical and cemetery type stuff year before last. And I'll tell you how. My granddad passed away in 2011, and this is March. This upcoming May, he'll be gone 12 years. And the family, we brought my granddad up, had him brought up after he was buried in a public cemetery for 10 years. We moved him approximately 4 miles down the road and placed him on the family farm. If you move someone like that and place them on a private property, anyone that's a family member, like a blood relative to put it, they have a right to come and visit that spot at any point in time. It don't matter if it's a mile, off in the woods, they have a right to come and visit that grave again, or that cemetery, or whatever, it might be. A lot of these people will put up posted signs or no trespassing signs around, say, these little small cemeteries, that may be on private property, fairly close or not far off, of a public road. And, any of the family or whatever, or, distant of kin, blood relative, stuff like that, even if there's posted or private property signs up, those signs stands for nothing. Can't no access point like a driveway or a road or anything like that where you're going to have to pass through to access, a family cemetery, anything. Can't nothing be gated or cabled, or blocked. Some people will try to lay stuff across the road, so you can't drive over it or drive past it. I mean, that's a problem. That's against the regulations. But now something else here is some of these little small cemeteries. They will be actually marked out on their own individual plat as a tax exempt area. Things can work a little different, in a case like that. But a lot of times, these little small cemeteries, they hadn't been deeded out of the property that they're on, and they're actually on the plat of an actual landowner. And yes, a landowner will have control of that site, of that cemetery or that location, although there may be other blood relatives, and kin that's going to want to visit that area. So, again, they have if they're a family member or relative, they have a right to access that area, if they wish to visit. Well, how close can a house be to a grave or a cemetery? How close, can any living quarters, be to a grave or a cemetery, or how far out, can anything be disturbed or whatever around a grave or a cemetery? Every grave has what's called a 10-foot buffer. Any crypt is 5 feet, but cannot nothing be disturbed within 10 feet all the way around a grave. And there again, when it comes to a house, any type of living quarters, anything like that, it can be 10 feet. You wouldn't think that a house or whatever could be that amount of feet, from a grave or a cemetery. It's 10 feet. I think I was told that it's best if you ever see that a house or something's going to be that close to anything like that. I believe they called it a waiver. You can go to appear before a judge and get what's called a waiver if that case, was to ever occur. And one more thing here that some folks out there may wonder about is who do graves or headstones or markers belong to? Headstones, tombstones, markers, whatever you want to call them, belong to family members, and the graves belong to no one. So, but this is just a few bits and pieces that I've just quickly touched on here when it comes to, these state guidelines for cemeteries and here in Tennessee. But I strongly recommend that if you're not in Tennessee, or whether you're in Tennessee or not, contact somebody through the state historical commission, and they can answer any of the questions that you may have. And even in another state, they may be able to submit or supply you with some type of piece of information, like I've found here in Tennessee, which is called this Walter Hines Law. But it was Walter Hines versus State from Tennessee Supreme Court, December 1911, Nashville, Tennessee. But there's also some law codes for this stuff. But I'm gonna throw that Walter Hines Law in here at the end, and you can pause the video if you'd like to read all that. It's an interesting piece of information, and I think it'd be worth your time to read it. I think it's about close to 2 pages or something like that. But there's a lot of folks out there that's very, very unaware of a lot of this stuff when it comes to these laws and regulations involving the graves and cemeteries and this historical type stuff. So appreciate you watching. I hope some of this information helped you out. So until next time, I'll see you from somewhere out in the great outdoors, wherever it may be. I'm Gary and Carlin, Mosses Creek Outdoors, and I appreciate y'all watching.